Hi, this is the instructional video for using the Volunteers tool as part of your convention management. To get to the Volunteers tool, you go to the Convention Tools menu, and Volunteers will be at the bottom. You just go down there and click on Volunteers, and you'll be taken to the Volunteers settings page to turn on the Volunteers tool. To enable the volunteering tool, you just click on the Enable Volunteering button. This will expose a few other general settings on this page for the volunteering tool, and also show the nav bar that you will use to complete your setup, your volunteering setup. The tool in this state is not open to public. Once you've completed your setup and you are ready to allow attendees to volunteer for your convention, you would come back here and click on Open Volunteering, and then attendees will have some menu options appearing in your convention where they can go to apply to volunteer. So the general settings on this page include that you can require a volunteer to have a convention badge. By default, no badge is required to volunteer. That is the default setting. You can make it so that a volunteer must have just any badge for your convention in order to volunteer. That's the badge required volunteer for any shift option. You can also make it so that the volunteer must have a badge for the same day on which they want to volunteer. That is the badge required volunteer for shift on day of badge option. That means that if the volunteer wants to volunteer for Friday on your at your convention, they need to have a badge for Friday, and we will right now just leave that at no badge required to volunteer. Then the second option is that you can include a custom greeting in the email that goes out to volunteers that you add to the schedule. So that email normally includes information about the shift that they have to work and stuff like that, and you can also include this greeting as part of that email. So you might say, "Hi, thanks for helping out. I'm Sean. I'm the volunteers coordinator for HowToCon." So this would be part of that email that goes out to a scheduled volunteer. And then finally, the Volunteers tool also includes custom fields that you can add. These custom fields, these work the same as any custom fields anywhere else in Tabletop.Events. And these particular custom fields are shown to volunteer applicants, people who are applying to volunteer, as part of the attendee volunteer application process. Normally that process, by default, that process just asks for an applicant to include a little personal information like their name and then some contact information such as email address and phone number. So you can add other things here that you might need to know about your volunteers. So you might want to know if they can receive texts. So you can add that as a field, as a drop-down field, an option field. You will have the options yes or no, and then we'll make that required, so they have to answer yes or no, and we'll just limit its visibility. So, so these work the same as any other custom field option in other parts of Tabletop.Events.